The small rooms and the VFWs and the DIY spots, it's like you're there because you genuinely love this shit. So the people that have kind of followed us and taken notice from seeing us at shows like that are really passionate. And it's so cool to see those people pay attention and react to the songs, because like we're writing it for people like that. You know what I mean? Because we're people like that. Seeing those people come out to the shows and sing Swarm at us after it being out for less than 3 weeks or whatever it is really, really cool. It has been very awesome.
You're listening to OurSpace with Matt Batisse.
Hey, thanks for listening to another episode of OurSpace with Matt Batisse. Before we start, I just want to remind you to remember to subscribe to the show on YouTube, follow along on Apple and Spotify, leave those 5-star reviews. That's the biggest way that you can help support the show. And of course, supporting the show also means supporting the artists that we end up talking to. Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Richmond, Virginia's own House and Home. They've been a standout in the DIY world over the past few years, and their 2020 debut, Find Sense, Feel Love, Make Light, put them on the map. Now they're gearing up for their sophomore record. It's called I Won't Look For You. It's dropping on November 14th on Open Your Ears Records. And we're going to be talking about the making of the record, the new single, where they're headed next, a little bit about the tour that they're on as well. You may notice if you're watching on YouTube, Pat is actually in the car right now. They're in the middle of a tour, and he's going to be playing a gig right after. He's going to be playing a show right after we wrap up our chat today. Pat, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right on into this new album. This is what I want to talk about. Like I said, November 14th, it's out. It's your sophomore album, which usually ends up being a big one. How did writing this record compare to the debut?
I mean, everything about it was like completely different, to be honest. I mean, as you said, it's sophomore record, so I feel like there's a lot of pressure, especially for a band that hasn't really broken through quite yet. We all definitely kind of felt the make or break vibe a little bit, I think. And for this one, we actually wrote a lot of it on the road, which we've never done before. We were on a tour with a band called The Dirty Nail for the first month and some change of this year. And we did a lot of writing in the van. We just had like an Apollo and a guitar and Pro Tools and just like put a bunch of demos together, which we'd never done before. And it was really stressful and really super far out of our comfort zone, which was like kind of integral to the way that the record turned out, I think. When we recorded the first one, it was like we had all the time in the world. We had never done a full length before, and we were a lot younger. So it was like we'd spent however long we wanted working on songs until they were exactly how we wanted, and there was no pressure. We did it before we were signed to a label, so there was nobody really paying attention. Nobody had any stakes in it yet, and this time was scary. And you know, we did the record in town with our guy Will Beasley, who has done all of our stuff for years and years now. And it's been so long since we put out a full-length record, and it's our sophomore record, and the label is backing it, and all these people are paying attention now. And so there was a lot more pressure this time. But I think I love this record. I truly think that the songs are better than anything we've done before. And I think part of the reason for that is how uncomfortable we were while we were making it. There was nothing, we couldn't phone anything in if we tried. So it's all new, and it's all, I think, the best version of what we have been doing. So I'm super excited about it.
You said you felt like it was make or break. Why did you feel like it was make or break?
So we've been a band for going on almost 8 years now. It's been a while. And I mean, we've had some really cool opportunities, and the growth has been really cool for us. I feel like now that, you know, a few of us are married or about to be married, and we're a little bit older, and we're still just as passionate about this thing, but it's like, okay, we want to make this a career. Like, we really want to go for it. And we have the label that's backing it financially, and all these people that are paying attention now that weren't before. So I feel like it's like the combination of people counting on us and eyes on us, and like, we really want to make something happen with this record. So we really put everything into it. And I think most of the pressure was put on us by ourselves. I think I, at least, was like really in my head a lot of the time while we were making the record. Like, it's got to be good. It's got to be good. And now after being removed from the process for a couple months, I am so stoked on the record. But I was just so like scared shitless the whole time, to be honest.
What was the turning point?
I really started to see how special the songs were when we started doing vocals. Because Joey and I, our other singer, have always really kind of been locked in with each other vocally. But I think that when we started finalizing lyrics and really dialing in the parts, I kind of realized like, oh, these songs are actually special. Like it is a weird thing as a vocalist to, you have to kind of find a way to connect to the songs in a different capacity than if you were just like a guitar player or a drummer. Because you have to deliver the main emotional force of the song live. And so I think looking back on it now, one of the things that I was most nervous about was writing something that I wasn't actually able to connect to the way I felt I needed to. And so the fact, or when we finally did get into record vocals and it started coming together, I kind of was like exhaled a little bit, like, oh, okay, this is really hitting me the way I think I needed it to. So that was when I really started to listen to the songs in a different light and kind of really see the face value of what we had done. And I'm very, very proud of it.
You've kind of mentioned as well that like a lot of that writing was on the road, and I've actually seen in the past you've mentioned the process of writing this record as loud, scary, exciting, uncomfortable, and cathartic. Whole lot to unpack there. Was it because it was being written on the road, or was it like the actual process of writing the songs?
I think a little bit of both. Writing wise, we've always been super collaborative. It doesn't matter if you're going to be singing the songs, you have a say in lyrics. Doesn't matter if you're not playing the drums, you have a say in the drum parts. Like everybody kind of works on everything. And so doing songwriting that way in the context of being on the road and being broke and tired and dirty and away from your home and your significant other, it does add an extra layer of stress, but it's also a potential tool to tap into some different stuff to use to write the songs. And so everything about writing this record, we did it in a way that we'd never done before because we were so determined to not write the same record again. And so I think it was just the process being totally different than we'd ever done. We were on a schedule. We were on a time crunch. We had people waiting on us. We had people counting on us. It's not just, well, in a way it is and in a way it isn't. But like when we wrote the first record, it was through and through just like friends hanging out in their basement writing songs. And now it's like we feel like we're on the cusp of something really big, but we still have a little bit of work to do. And the record is how we're doing that work. And so it feels so, we feel like there's so much riding on it. And so it was kind of a dice roll to do it in such a different way than we've ever done. But I really do think it paid off.
When I started this podcast a few years ago, I wanted this to be the place where the millennials that grew up listening to alternative music, emo, pop punk, all of that, that may have sort of fallen out of, the whole discovering new music process throughout their maybe, let's say, mid to late 20s, early 30s, and now want to get back into it, right? Like, hey, yeah, I'm listening to all the old nostalgia stuff, but I missed a whole gap of new music. And where do I go and catch up? And these interviews are meant to be like, hey, you love the bands that I love listening to. These are the bands that you're going to love now. And one thing that you kind of touched upon, because one of my favorite genres of music these days is that, you've got a lot riding on it, right? Like this is, you're, I'm assuming a millennial as well, in that era, or are you sort of younger than me?
I'm 28. So I was born in 97. So I think I'm on like the cusp. I'm like an older Gen Z technically. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're like the first year of Gen Z because my brother's 97 as well. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm Gen Z. I grew up watching and listening to all the same things that you did. Yeah, but you're sort of like still in that era of, being an adult and having a partner and having real responsibilities, right? Once you get to your late 20s, that's where I feel like real life starts to kick in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like artists in that era, and this is my sort of like general, what I'm getting to is artists that are in that point of their life where everything matters, but they're still doing this music that they love anyway. They're making the best music right now. because it matters, you know, and I can name so many bands off of the back of my hand that are doing that right now. And, you know, so are you. And I'm curious what that does for your writing process.
I mean, like, we have a bunch of songs about that, you know, like there's one on this record. There's a couple on the last one. Like, speaking purely for myself, I kind of am not good at anything else. I kind of like don't like I've set my life up to where I kind of can't do anything outside of music. Like, and I would have it no other way. But like, if House and Home were to just pump the brakes and stop tomorrow, I would just start working on a record for myself. Like, I don't have anything else. You know what I mean? And it's the kind of thing where all the credit to our wives and girlfriends, like they're cool with this, because it's a lot. Our life completely revolves around this. But it is the kind of thing where it takes a level of confidence that some would say is like bordering on narcissism, of like, I am good enough to write songs that everybody has to pay attention to and pay me money for. Where it's like, I wouldn't say that explicitly, but in essence, that's kind of what it is. It's like, you know, I believe in what we're doing hard enough. And I've talked to people at shows that, you know, the small group of people that know who we are, that like our music, to where it's like given me just enough confidence to keep going every time we go on tour. And like, the growth is there, and like, I believe in our potential, and I'm lucky enough to have people in my life that also believe in our potential. And you got to be a good mix of stubborn and stupid to want to do it. And it is just like, what else am I going to do? You know what I mean? It's my favorite thing in the world. And as much as I hate the side effects sometimes, like, I miss the hell out of my wife. I am very unshowered and like stuff like that. It's like, I kind of have no other choice. This is like what I have signed up to do for the rest of my life. And I'm very happy with it. It just, and a lot of my favorite bands are in kind of the same boat. Like, some of them are people that we've met from touring, and others are people that I've been listening to for a long time and have been lucky enough to meet from being in a band. And everybody that I look up to is kind of the same mindset, where it's like, I just didn't give myself a choice. I just have to do this, and we're going to make it work one way or another, you know? So it's just kind of what it takes, at least the way that we're doing it. It's what it takes. So,
speaking of which, doing what it takes and really cranking it up. You've also said that your goal for this record was to turn everything that's worked about House and Home up to 11. What does that look like musically and lyrically on this album?
We talked a lot about what we wanted to, or rather how we wanted to approach this record. We have been lucky enough the past few years to kind of get a taste of a different level of touring. Like, the tour we did last year with Trophy Eyes was our first like big full US tour. And we kind of were like, okay, well, when we enter that space, like, how do we want to present as a band? And like, I hate the like fake it to make it shit. That's not, we couldn't do that if we tried. Like, we're not a super like industry oriented band. We like loud rock music, tube amps, and like heavy songs. And so we were like, we're just going to do that the loudest and biggest way we know how. And we got in the studio and took the demos that we had and got with our guy Will and just listened to music for the first couple days. Like, a lot of our favorite records, like Joey was bumping a lot of Alice in Chains. Like, we listened to a couple different Basement records, and like also like weird stuff like Fleetwood Mac and stuff that doesn't sound like us at all. But like, everything that we were inspired by had like a common like through line of just being like a genuine, authentic, just like rock band. And we're 3 vocals, 2 guitars, bass, and drums. Like, we don't play with tracks, not shitting on anybody that does. It's, you know, do your thing. But we can make really loud rock music with just the instruments we have on stage. How do we get that to translate on this record? And we were as thoughtful as possible with the parts. And Joey is a whiz with like writing these crazy, like intricate hybrid picking clean guitar parts for verses that just explode into these like crazy suspended chords and choruses and stuff. And we did a lot of that. Basically, like you take Joey's obsession with Black Sabbath and Gojira and mash it together with my obsession with like Death Cab for Cutie and House and Home Happens. And so we were just did that in like the purest, most unadulterated way possible.
I feel like that's the best way to describe your band to someone that that has never heard you. Death Cab for Cutie meets Gojira.
Yeah, Joey's a riffer, and I like lyrics a lot. So, and I mean, Colin and Matt too is like, we'll bring a demo to the guys, and Matt will break out a drum beat that none of us would have thought of in a million years, and it'll totally transform the song. And we joke about Colin being a finisher, because we'll be stuck on like one detail of a song and he'll just spit out what seems like the most obvious solution that nobody had thought of yet. And we're like, oh shit. Okay. And then the song will be done, so it is just like everybody got on the same page and then we started writing, I feel like. And there was a weird period, actually, full transparency, where we got into the studio, and if I'm rambling, stop me, but we got into the studio and we went through a week of pre-production, picking the songs apart and rewriting. And then we all went to a show in Richmond. And after the show, I got in the car with Will, our producer, to drive me home. And he was like, hey man, the songs aren't ready, right? Like, we're all thinking it. And I was like, that sucks, but yeah, you're right. And so we all talked the next day and we're like, yeah man, like what we've done this week is cool, but like it's not finished yet. And so we resigned. We're like, this record is just going to take as long as it takes. And we did another like 3 to 7 days of pre-production. We wrote a couple brand new songs from scratch. And like, one thing I will say about Will Beasley, to this man's credit, he will never let you put out a song that he thinks is not as good as it could be. And shout out Will for really like holding us accountable as songwriters. Because we would do stuff and he's like, that's like 70% of the way there, after we'd been working on it for days and all of us were ready to just call it fine. He will not let you do that. Thank God. I truly think it's just the commitment to making, not to sound like a cornball, but making art as authentic and as like self-fulfilling as possible as the person writing the songs. That's always what we've done. And that is the thing that has worked. So like if we were to dial it back on that in any capacity, we'd be stupid and it would just sink us. So like we really tried to lean into that as hard as possible.
I love that. I love that a lot, making sure that it's done.
Truthfully, I'm not even sure if I answered your question, but
let's talk a little bit about Swarm. It's the first single on this record. What made you choose that one?
That was like the first song that was fully done. And I think it is the truest like continuation of what we had been doing as a band so far. I think it's easy for people to see from point A to point B as far as what we've done before to Swarm. And it's just super fun to play. We were just stoked to play it live. Like, let's put this one out so that we can play it in front of people. It's pissed and it's energetic and it's bouncy and like just gets me going. It's just fun. And I think we were really strategic with the way that we picked all the singles on this one. It's like Swarm is like an easy intro to the record. And then we might get a couple singles coming up here that are a little bit further out there. That might throw people for a little bit of a loop, but it's just a really good encapsulation of what the whole record's about, I think. Not even thematically, just like gives you a good picture of the whole thing. So
it's a good introduction. Yeah. Your title track, I Won't Look for You, it closes off the album. Why did you choose that song and to close it off with the title track?
Ooh, that song was interesting. So spoiler, that song is not a single. So if anybody's listening to this, you're going to have to wait for the record to hear that one. But it's really fast and it is pretty just cranked to 10 the whole time. But it started, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. It started really slow and we had like this one riff that Joey had written and we were kind of messing with something slow and ballady, and we tried a bunch of different iterations of it, and it just wasn't working. And then me, Colin, and Matt showed up to the studio one day when Will and Joey had been there late the night before, and they had this version of the song that was really fast and really aggressive and just felt really good. And we wrote it from the ground up in the studio. And once we'd all kind of come around to the new version of it, it was just like, this feels really good as an album ender. And it was something that we never really expected to be on the record, or at least not the way it turned out, because it doesn't sound like any of the other songs really. And it just felt so, to use the word I've used a lot when I'm talking to people about this record already, it felt really cathartic, and just like, if there's one song that I want people to walk away fresh from hearing after they finish this record, I think it's this one. You know what I mean? Okay. It's like, I think all of the record is memorable. I truly don't think there's a forgettable track on there. But like, if I want one song to end and people go, oh, I need to listen to the whole thing again and run the whole record back, I think it's that one. And that's kind of why we chose to name it after the entire record and put it last. It just like felt correct. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you, is there a song on the record that isn't a single that holds a particular spot in your heart? Are you particularly excited for one of these songs? Or
there is a song on the record called New Low that I was really surprised by. I think the way it happened is Joey had a riff that he just started playing in the studio one day, and we kind of all were like, what is that? What is that? And he was like, I don't know, I just made it up. And it's in like a really weird time signature, and it's dark and like moody, and the dynamic, it goes from 0 to 100, back to 0, back to 100. And it's just so fun, and the chorus feels so good. And thematically, it was interesting. So I don't want to talk too much about what the song is about, because it's more so Joey's story than mine. But Joey had these lyrics that he had written. He's like, I really want to write about this. I feel like I need to talk about this, but I don't really know how. So I kind of sat with him, and I took the lyrics that he had already written and edited them and tried new phrases and verses and sent it back to him, and kind of collaborated on making the lyrics as good as possible, but still as true as possible to what he wanted to talk about. And I'm so proud of how that song turned out. I think it's so cool, and it's so different. And I'm really excited for people to hear that one. It's song number 6 or 7, I think 6. But yeah, that one, look out for that one. That one's going to be really cool, and it's really fun to play live.
There's a lot to look out for this album. And you're on Open Your Ears Records. You've kind of quickly talked a little bit about, this record, being with a label, some of the pressures, but what's it been like being on the label?
They're awesome, man. Adam, Neil, Abby, Christian, everybody at Open Your Ears. They've been so supportive of us, and they're a small label, and it's been cool to grow with them. And they just like genuinely give a shit about music and about their bands. They've always been down for whatever we want to do. We've never had to fight them on anything. I'll put it this way. They put a lot of trust in us, because sometimes we tend to shoot first, ask questions later, but they trust that whatever idea we have, we will work as hard as it takes to make it work. And so far, so good. So they've been awesome.
How so? Shoot first, ask questions later.
I think we just get so stoked about things. You know what I mean? like for example, like when we told our label rep Adam that we were rewriting a lot of stuff on the record, stuff that he had already heard before and really liked. I know he was nervous, but
I love that song. Why are you gonna change it?
Or like, we were like, we wanted to do this song as a single. He's like, are you sure? We're like, yes. He's like, okay. Like, and then like he gave us total creative freedom with the artwork and the pre-order stuff. And it's just like, whatever we want for our art, they are 100% behind us on, which has been really, really cool. And it's any of the horror stories that you hear about like the bigger labels, it's like, we don't really have to deal with much of that with them, which is just so sick. And yeah, it's just been really cool to grow with people that like actually care. It's been very cool. We were in talks with some other labels that will remain nameless before we even signed with OIE in the first place. And the thing that made the difference for us is we felt like we were an option that the other labels were exploring rather than, you know, a band that they really wanted to contend for, which was the difference with Adam and OIE. It was like, oh, this guy really likes our music and cares about our band and like has faith in us. That's cool. Like that's who I want backing me. You know what I mean? So, and that has always been the case. So shouts out OIE. Very, very easy to work with. Very cool label run by cool people. So
yeah, I'll say this. I've talked to Neil quite a few times over the last couple of years, and it sounds like you guys are sort of the label sweethearts for sure. So
I mean, I
the way
that.
that he talks about you. So he definitely, Neil, shout out Neil.
Yeah, dude is so enthusiastic and just loves this shit. And he's just so about it. It's cool.
I love how passionate he is, not just about, you guys or the label, but just music in general. Like you could tell he's one of those guys that's just like, he just loves it. True.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's people that are just as determined to make their thing work as we are to make ours work. And it's, kind of a meeting of the minds there, which has been really cool for us. So
you said that you want listeners to see themselves somewhere in this record. And I'm curious what you think people are going to connect with the most.
The through line in this record for me has been this. It is a concept that I have always thought about, but have never had a word for. And I can't remember what the author's name, but somebody named it. It's called Sonder. And it was actually a working title for the record that was shot down immediately because the guys were like, what the fuck does that mean? But every song on the record is about somebody that I or one of the other guys have known that for one reason or another is not in our lives at all or in the same capacity as they used to be. And I feel like that is something that a lot of bands have written about before. Like that's not a new concept. But for me, as one of the people that writes the lyrics, it was like I'm trying to do it in a way where I might have really bitter or angry or sad feelings about this person that I'm writing this about, but I'm trying to do it from a perspective of like trying to see where they're coming from. Because Sonder is the realization that everybody's life is as nuanced and complicated as yours is. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't keep in mind, myself included. But writing these songs about these people that I've known and like the stuff that I've learned from them, it's like, I don't know anything, or I don't know everything about any one of these people, no matter how well I know them. So to write about them from my experience is one thing, but to write about them from my perspective while keeping in mind that like there is stuff that I have no clue about going on with them is like another thing entirely. There are a lot of angry rock or pop punk bands that write about, songs about people that they used to know and like, fuck you, this, that, and the other. And it's like, that's cool. And I like a lot of that music, but it's like, a lot of these people like, yo, I had so much love for you. And like one thing happened that may or may not have been your fault. Something might have been just really unfortunate about our circumstance or what have you. But just like the fact that you are a person like me and you have your own free will and your own thoughts and your own experiences. And those are influencing your decision-making in ways that I am totally oblivious to. Like that added element to the songwriting, I think really kind of produced something that is a layer that's missing from a lot of those songs. You know what I mean? It was also like kind of a growth exercise for me as a person too, not to sound all like woo woo about it. But, yeah, I mean, like, I think that I can do better than writing a song about how pissed at somebody I am. There's always something more than that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think that takes that layer down a lot further in terms of emotional music and emotions. And I mean, you're right. Like we're way more convoluted than a simple catchy chorus or any sort of single story. There's always more to it. Yeah, someone broke your heart, but what happened before that? What are all the different things? What are their experiences? What childhood trauma do they have that you don't know about?
Exactly. And it's not even like, I don't know. It's like Swarm is, not to go into too much detail, but like Swarm is about like the person it's about. I hate that motherfucker, but it's like how I tried when I was writing the lyrics. I was like, yo, how did you get like this? Like, what happened? Like, I used to know you as this thing, and then all this stuff happened, and now I see you as this. Just like, I wrote that song with like disgust, which is like not something I'm used to doing, but like it's pissed. But it's like, I do feel like there's a connection to that song where it's like, not only do I hate you, I feel really bad for you. You know what I mean? And I feel like there is just, you can always go deeper than I don't like you. You know what I mean? And like, not even all the songs are about like not liking people. Some of them are just like genuinely like, I miss you. Or like, there's a song about my grandfather on there who was like the best person I ever knew. You know what I mean? And like, so it's just, my wife always makes fun of me. She's like, all your songs are sad, but you're not like a sad guy. And I'm like, yeah, because all my songs are sad.
Yeah. I have a place to put those emotions.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't take it home because I do all this, which is, that's a cliche, but
kind
it's
of better
true.
that way.
Yeah. But yeah,
you're to call out the elephant in the room right now. You're doing this podcast in the vehicle while you're on tour. You're on tour right now with Troubled Minds, yes. And then you're going to tour again with Bearings later this fall/winter. What new songs have you been playing, and what reaction have you been getting so far?
Obviously, we've been playing Swarm. We have been breaking out the second single that, as of recording, is going to come out on Friday of this week. I don't know when this drops. It'll probably be out by then. So I can say
it'll definitely be out by then. Yeah, you can say
the second single is called Oracle, and it is about my grandfather. So we've been playing that one a lot, and that one feels just awesome.
Go and check that out as soon as you wrap up this episode, because it will be out as you're listening to this episode.
Yeah, we've been playing those two. We played another one that is not dropping before the record comes out, but it does have a video with it. We played that one the other night in Asheville, and that one is just so much fun to play. The reactions have been amazing. I mean, we have a grand scheme of things, a small following, but what I really appreciate about it is we've been doing this at a DIY or slightly above DIY level for so long that the people that we've met through playing the shows that we have are so passionate about it. Like, nobody is that casual about it at the kind of shows that we've been playing. Like the small rooms and the VFWs and the DIY spots, it's like, you're there because you genuinely love this shit. So the people that have kind of followed us and taken notice from seeing us at shows like that are really passionate and really do care. And it's so cool to see those people pay attention and react to the songs, because like, we're writing it for people like that. You know what I mean? Because we're people like that. And anybody that listens to the songs in general, like, we appreciate the hell out of. But it's like, it's so special for people that care so much about music to care about our band, because those are the bands that we care about. You know what I mean? So seeing those people come out to the shows and sing Swarm at us after it being out for less than 3 weeks or whatever it is really, really cool. It has been very awesome.
I love that. And speaking of, that portion of things as well, people coming out, being passionate, checking out your band and all of that. One of the big things, kind of tying back to the podcast, about discovering new bands. What underrated bands or artists do you think more people should be checking out?
I mean, shout out Troubled Minds, our tour mates right now. They're sick. The homies in Arm's Length, their new record is awesome. They're going places. It's getting some traction, which is so deserved. New Canadian band out on Pure Noise called Spite House just dropped a record. If you like early Title Fight and like faster, aggressive, like emo stuff, 100% check them out. Standstill from Long Island, awesome pop punk band. Auto Ignition from Buffalo, awesome young pop punk band. If you like Saves the Day, listen to Auto Ignition. There's so many. I could go for forever. Bleak from New Mexico, No Cure from Alabama. Really, really awesome, heavy, metallic, straight edge hardcore. Sun Title, our brothers from Richmond. Excellent, like grungy emo bands. Yeah, the list goes on. I'm gonna be forgetting a bunch of people at this point, and you know who you are, and I'm sorry, but all love. Yeah.
All good. Yeah, that one usually people go crazy for with that one.
Yeah.
There's always a long list, but it's always a good list to have. So, Pat, thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we wrap things up, I want everyone to know I Won't Look Out For You drops November 14th. Go and pre-save that. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your tunes, go and pre-order it. I'll have links in the description to go and check out more from House and Home. Other than the record and the tour that we talked about, is there anything else that you want people to know about House and Home before we wrap?
All of the people commenting, come to Brazil on our Instagram. I see you. As soon as we can, I will. I see you. We're going to be on the road a lot on this record. That's the goal. So people outside of the US, hopefully we will make it to you ASAP. The reason we do this is to play live. So if you are into what we're doing at all, come see it live. That's the whole point for us. So yeah, come say what's up. We'll be around. We'll be on the road a lot. So.
And a House and Home Brazil tour coming in 2026. You heard it here first.
Bless up.
Thank you for listening to Our Space with Matt Batisse. If you enjoyed yourself, please support the show by subscribing and leaving a review.